Afternoon, folks. It is Wednesday, and we have some more hobby nightmares to get through. First of all, I want you to go over and have a little look at the goods merchant. They do a hell of a lot for the channel. They're making sure that we've got lots of really cool stuff. I'm even trying to get, well, we'll see in the near future, an Astral Blade dice shaker, which will be really, really cool, as soon as I get round to sending that damn picture that Tim asked for a while back. But I will get to it. But anyway, head over to him if you want some really cool features like well, I could actually show you. I'm really being lazy today. I don't even know why I'm bothering doing this. I'm going to be lazy. So, we have the Dungeon Masters screen there. Something that I've wanted for quite a while. I've been waiting. I've been saving up to get this. It is a wonderful screen from what I've seen of it. It is something that I really want to take into my local gaming cafe, Sugar and Dice, just down the road, and plonk this down and just get all the nerd credit in the world. So, anyway, if you want anything from the store, it is a fantastic little store, but from a very, very talented person who wants to help out the channel. Then make sure when you get anything that you use the promo code Northern Exile to get yourself, I think it's 10% off these days, which is pretty cool. Anyway, moving on, let us get to some hobby nightmares, shall we? Before I do anything else. Here we go. So, our first hobby nightmare, and again, sometimes these are hobby nightmares, sometimes these are more on the side of advice, general advice, or questions, things like that. Also, if you like what I do on the channel, before I go anywhere, before I do anything else, please make sure that you head over to Patreon if you want to, and give whatever you can. We're about halfway on to our target of £750 a week. Sorry, a month. A week would be nice. A month, to make sure that I can stop relying on ad revenue. And also, we've got, you know, you can become a member of the channel if you want to. If you can't afford to do either of those two things, that's totally fine. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all that stuff, push it in the algorithm, because, you know, Al Gore needs a bit of love every now and again. So, our first story comes from Mintor. Mintor says, hello, Mr. Exile. After some lurking, I came to the conclusion that it's time to open my book of hobby stories, sometimes nightmares, about the wonderful hobby that we partake in. Alright. But first, the usual disclaimer. English isn't my first language. Oh, it's going to be one of those messages. And my name, I guess, should be spelled... I'm not going to try and pronounce that. But to be honest, no one I know calls me that. It's just an internet alias that stuck a couple of years ago in my heydays. To my story. It was the end of the 6th or 7th edition of Warhammer 40,000. Our gaming community had planned an apocalypse game to send off the current edition with a bang. It was somewhat like a tradition, and we had some really fun farewell games over the years. Everything was planned: food, terrain, time schedule. I'd booked a couple of tables in one of the big gaming rooms of our local game store, and I was half an hour early to set the tables up. Nothing too fancy, because Apocalypse is well known for acquiring some additional tools like a duster, shovel, and literally buckets of dice. So, happy me puts down the chairs from the tables, stacks them in the corner 5 meters away, and I was already imagining the biomass I would claim for my saviour, glorious deaths, heroism, villainism, and the laughter of thirsting gods. But the scream of another god pulled me back into real space. It was the owner of the game store, furious, as if I asked for a discount. Why, by all that was holy, had I moved the chairs? I was a bit baffled and apologised without thinking and knowing what exactly I did wrong. After his rage cooled off, I understood that one of the tables I put chairs away from was exclusive for a group of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. Okay, I mean, no real biggie. In my opinion, it should have ended there. I fixed the problem in under 1 minute, but over the day, he would occasionally come by our table and mention that I did something horribly wrong, that I should never do this again, mentioning the chairs. To be honest, I was fed up after the 4th or 5th time, and it soured my mood of the day, and the time that I had, and each time he came over, I had to apologise again. We played the game, and my moment of the day was one of my Goliath trucks charging into an Admech big shot who was on his last leg, with the sole purpose of exploding and killing him, and as much of the surrounding forces as possible. It worked, of course. I don't know anyone which side. Sorry, I can't remember. Again, English is not his first language. I'm making sense of this as I go. I don't know which side won to this day, aside from corn, but it wasn't about winning, so no biggie in my book. But since then, I have a very cautious relationship with the shop owner. So long and have a nice evening. Well, yeah, I mean, some store owners tend to be very overly protective of their space. Mainly because I think quite a lot of them are actually kind of autistic. And kind of like, you know, this is my area. Please don't touch my area. What are you doing? This is ridiculous. Don't touch this. Don't touch that. Sort of a thing. And whilst I completely get that sentiment, at the same time, it does seem like a bit of an overreaction. Especially if you corrected it straight away. It does seem like a hell of a stretch for him to like just come over and be with you all the entire day to saying shit like that. If I was in your situation by that point, and I'm at this game, I know he's not going to get rid of me during the game. So I'd probably say to him after the third, fourth time, listen, can I have a word? And then I'd say, look, you told me something wasn't right. I corrected it and then apologised. You either need to get over it, or I don't come back here again. You know? Either way, it's fine with me. I'm going to finish this game either way. But, like, you need to either get over it, or I leave. I don't bring my game back here again, so you lose another 10 to 15 customers. You know, just get over it, essentially. You know what I mean? Like some people need just a talking to like this. My local Tesco, and I will say this on here. I know it's kind of like a bit of a segue, but anyway. It has a manager in there who's not very tall. He has a bit of a Napoleon complex. And I was in there the other day just buying, I think it was something for dinner, like a steak or something. So I was in there buying my protein and went to the self-checkout. And I see this girl who is moving stuff from side to side into the back room of the store. And she put something down near the back room of the store. Out of the way, no one's going to trip over or anything. It's only a small box. And so I'm beeping, checking out. And I hear him say, what is this here? Are we playing fucking pass the parcel or something? No, quite more aggressively than I'm saying it there, because I don't want to be aggressive down the microphone. And she turns around and says, oh, sorry, yeah, I'm just putting them there because I'm loading them into the back, getting them out the way. And he said something like, really, I can't even remember what he said. It was something really nasty. Like, oh, well, don't do it again, for God's sake. You know, and I really started having a go at her. Being a little bully, you know. And I turned around and just looked at this guy. You know, just... because there's one thing I don't like in the world, is bullies. My fists were, like, pumped up, like, scrunched up in my pockets, just looking at him. And this motherfucker wouldn't look at me. He was stacking shelves nearby, and he was looking at me through at the corner of his eye, but he wouldn't engage me. He wouldn't, like... You know what I mean? Because it just wouldn't, because that's what bullies do. They didn't actually want confrontation. They want to walk all over people. So I turned back around, scanned my stuff, and left. But he's always come across with that air as a little bully, you know what I mean, a little prick. And unfortunately, you know, this girl got the brunt of it. And it sounds like you got the brunt of it as well, Mentor, when you talk about your experience in the hobby shop, which I'm sorry you went through, but, you know, fuck that guy. You might have been having a bad day, you never know, but there you go. So, Jippo Wop says, hello, Lord Exile of the North. Hello. How are you? You've made it a bit of a maze to figure out how to send your nightmares. But I suppose that separates the wheat from the chaff. Yeah, it does, man. Because otherwise I'd be inundated with stuff. You go on the Discord, which is down below. You look up how to contact Exile. It's right at the top of when you join the Discord server. Fan mail. Follow the instructions. There's only like 2 of them, I think. And then you can send me a message on there. And it's direct to me. And I can read them and send them back to you. And all in one place. Nice and easy. Anyways, here's my situation. I live in Maine. Stephen King's favourite state. The most rural state in the New England region of the US. As such, we don't have much of anything hobby related. That is, any hobby at all, really. It was only recently we got a hole-in-the-wall hobby Warhammer storefront, and it is seemingly run by someone who could mocap for Jabba the Hutt. Not exactly a hub of gameplay. Okay. As for local hobby stores, there are none left after Nurgle's blessing swept through. This predicament led me down a dangerous path I hope to help others avoid. Simply put, it is not how much you save, it is how much you spend. I have likely to close to $10,000 US. I put likely close to $10,000 US into eBay bargaining. I justified this at the time with all sorts of excuses from, if I have a kill team, I might as well have a full army, to, well, if there is no hobby store, I will need an army for a friend to play against me with. And even, Holy Emperor, 50 metal Terminators for $70. That last one I'm actually proud of, though. Yeah, you should be. 50 metal Terminators for $70, not too bad. And had an edgy rogue trader Terminator in there. Okay, nice. The point is, with nothing but army collecting as my outlet, I now have 8 armies of shame. They waste away in my attic at my parents', for I have neither time nor space to paint or use them. I financially recovered, but I still ponder where I would be now if I had those $10,000. I might write again with some embarrassing moments, but I just needed to warn others and give out my second saying of advice. For every model you buy, you must first paint 2. No exceptions. Thank you for the therapy and chuffed feelings. Yeah, no, I'd go with that. I've currently got my first pile of shame, which is hard for some of you to believe, considering I worked for the company for 3 years? 3.5. Forget it. I'll come back to that at some other point. Anyway, considering I worked for GW and I got that discount, I never really had a pile of shame. I would have a project in my mind and I'd obsess over it. I'd buy the models, I'd build them, I'd paint them till they were done, and then I'd put them in a shelf, ready to be used. And then I'd move on to my next thing. So I was quite good about that. I never really got the pile of shame thing. My first pile of shame has just happened, where I have the Astral Blades there, and I'm slowly working my way through painting them. But I also have a finished Grey Knights army that is in boxes, not even built. They're just in my cupboard, just ready to be built. And I also have a full starter set army of Chaos Space Marines, or Renegade Marines, that are going to be used from the Horus Heresy set, the new Horus Heresy set. And that is all packed away in there as well. So I've, 2 to 3 big projects on the go at one time. So, that's my first pile of shame, and I'm slowly working through it, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, for every one model you buy, you must first paint 2. So what you're saying is, for every box you buy, you must paint 2. No exceptions. Nah, that sounds pretty reasonable. It means you're making progress on all the stuff that you've got on your hobby shelf and things like that. What do you guys think? What are your guys' largest pile of shames in your house? Or in your flat, or wherever you are? Let me know. Sage Prime says, "Good afternoon, Exile." Well, it is here anyway. I'm super excited for the ancient Greek East March game, or West March game. I lived off of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books in middle school. All right, cool. Yeah, we are starting a RPG on the channel towards the end of summer. Probably September, it's looking like. Where we are having a full, brand new setting called the Exile Kingdoms. It's nice and easy. There's not like pages and pages of lore. We're going to have a World Anvil page. You can go and check it out. All the rules will be on there for free too. And it will be a West March game where or was it East March? I can't remember. Where we have several groups of mercenaries all wandering throughout this ancient Greek world full of fantasy monsters and shit. Making sure that they're doing quests and putting their own armies together. So we're actually going to be able to have battles like in using dice, but still, and maps and stuff. We'll actually have battles between these mercenary companies as they decide the fate of the Greek world. It's going to be really, really cool. Anyway, Sage Prime says, "This isn't a horror story. Actually, just the opposite. Last summer, we had an intern, who was really interested in the models I'd bring to work for show and tell. We're engineers. Yes, we're weird. Anyway, I helped him get started with a Necron HQ and showed him the basics of building and painting. Fast forward 1 year to now, and he's our intern again this summer. He brought with him a full 2,000 point force of Necrons and a fledgling force of Gene Stealers. Safe to say, I'm bloody impressed. Last weekend, we went to the local hobby store and played a few games. I brought my Tau, and we had a blast. There isn't a huge following for 40k in my area, and so we attracted a few interested customers that came through while we played. It's a really nice feeling to genuinely get someone into the hobby and the attention from passerbys didn't hurt either. Sincerely, Sage. Right, well, that's really cool, man. And this is what people don't seem to understand. If you don't have a hobby community, it only takes one person looking at your models and going, wow, they're pretty cool, for you to start one of your own, for you to actually have a hobby community of your own. So I would definitely say well done to you, sir, for making sure that you are, endearing the hobby to other people and making sure that other people are having a good time. Excellent stuff. And you pushed him into a Xenos faction too, so he's going to be able to play a lot of different people over the years, rather than just having Space Marines versus Space Marines all the time. So, Brandon says, "Hey North, Brandon here again. Was very surreal hearing you read out my message for the other day, and yes, I've been lurking around on and off for some time. I'm not the kind of person to make myself known, so this is very different for me. If memory serves, the options as far as videos went when I first subbed were essentially the GW vid or your world building vid. To be honest, I didn't watch as much of your stuff as I should until about 2020, but there you go. Well, to be honest, Brandon, I didn't really start taking YouTube seriously as a thing, as a hobby that I wanted to do until about 2020. Or 2021 even. So, no hard feelings there. Anyway, I'll try to punctuate this short message a little better than my last. Just by question, it's just a question / jumping off point for you this time. Okay, I like these. I'm going to try my best to ask it in a neutral way, because I'd rather hear your thoughts and reactions without biasing it towards one kind of response. I hope that makes sense. I just hate leading questions. Yeah, makes sense completely, man. Just let me take a drink of water before I start. Alrighty. So, Brandon says, R.A. Salvatore was once asked for writing advice during a Q&A in the mid-2000s. For those not in the know, Salvatore is the creator and primary author of the Drizzt Do'Urden stories in the D&D Forgotten Realms novels. His answer was, if you can quit, you should quit being a writer. Which he expanded into something along the lines of, get a decent job with some security instead. If you can't quit, I'm sorry, but you're probably a writer. Which really stuck with me. What are your thoughts? Anyway, cheers big man, goodbye for now, but not forever, and once again, best of luck. Thank you. Very interesting quote there from R.A. Salvatore. So, what he's saying is, if you can quit, you should quit being a writer. But if you can't quit, then you're probably a writer. And he's right. Especially the way I look at it. I have different... I wear many different hats. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I mark a lot of essays. I proofread books. And essays. I do all those things, and they earn me a decent crust. And of course I do YouTube as well, which I'm trying to get to the point where I can actually stop relying on ad revenue, which would be great if I can actually do that. So I wear a lot of hats, but writer is the thing that I always come back to. It's the thing that I always do, and it's the thing that earns me the least money. I think I've earned like a couple of grand writing over the years, which to me is absolutely nothing at all. It is an absolute pittance. But at the same time, it's something that I can't stop doing. And I think R.A. Salvatore's got a very, very good point here. If you can't stop, then you're probably a writer. And the fact that he apologises as well. It's like, yeah, sorry, you're probably a writer. Because a lot of people who write will never be recognised, and they'll never get any sort of the recognition that maybe their work deserves. Which is kind of why I'm really impressed with the self-publishing aspect of things these days, and the fact that that's a thing that you can do. It's something I've thought about doing for quite a while. But we'll have to see how I figure out I'm going to work that out, but we'll see. I know that there are people who have done self-publishing, and then another publisher has seen that and picked it up and bought it, and then published it for them, because it's done quite well. So if that would be my advice, if you ever want to be published, publish it yourself. Just go to Amazon and publish it yourself. And if it does well, you will get publishers looking at it and going, oh, well, that's selling. We'll buy that. We'll buy that and we'll market it properly. And we'll get millions of people to buy it, not thousands, And that's the best way of doing it. And there are many success stories out there of people who've done just that. So, make sure that if you've got an idea, that you're plugging away at it. Because at the end of the day, writing is not something you can shake. If you're a writer. If you're not a writer and you're doing it as a fad, then maybe you can come back to it once in a while. But anyone else, I'm not saying you need to write every day. I'm not saying that. To get better, you should. really. You should really write every day to get better. I'm even terrible at that. If I'm tired after work, sometimes I don't write, you know, and I should do. I'm making a plan to go to Liverpool tomorrow and sit down in my gaming cafe and do some writing, you know. That's my plan for tomorrow. But anyway, for today, I would say, you know, keep going. If that's what you are as a writer, then keep going. If you can't shake that feeling and you want to write, then do it. Get it out your system. Because I've noticed something that, at no point during my writing career, even when I haven't sold or I've been writing, it's never been wasted time. Because I've always been getting better. I've been developing my craft. I've been getting better at getting words onto the page and making people want to read them. That's what I do. Like, you know, that's my main focus in life, is being a storyteller. Which is why hobby horror stories are so precious to me, is because I get to tell your stories, and I really like getting into the heads of other people and seeing how they think and seeing what they want to go through. So being a writer, I would say, yeah, if you can't get it out your head, just keep going. Just keep plugging away. Even if you make no money, just keep plugging away, my man. You'll be good. You'll be all good. So, Kiwi says, and Kiwi is the, well, maybe he'll explain. Hi North, me again, with another chapter of the romantic failures of an Iron Warrior player. First of all, I would like to take you on that bet with the paint/rattle can from Composite Games. I am still in touch with the hobby girl, and we joke around and talk about comic books and games. However, in the meantime, I went out with my colleague on that date I mentioned last time. Hey, brilliant. The event we attended was pretty lame, and I felt really bad for taking her there since it was quite the letdown. Yeah, dude. Right, bit of advice. Advice corner. Your first date with a girl, or a man, doesn't matter. Your first date, right? It cannot be a niche event. Do not take them to winter markets. Do not take them to some pottery painting class. Do not take them to anything. Take them for a drink. That's it. Listen, take them out so you can talk one-on-one and make each other laugh. That's what you should be doing. Go out, make each other laugh. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Because let's be honest, if you want to get with this person and eventually marry them one day, you're going to be sitting down and having a lot of silences that you're going to have to fill. Or not fill, as the case may be. So make sure that you take him for a drink. That's it. Not even a movie. Just take him for a drink. Nice and easy. And if they don't want to do that, if they're thinking that that's kind of boring, that's not the kind of person you want to be with, dude. That's the kind of person who's going to wring you dry for every penny or cent that you've got. So yeah, take them for a drink. Get to know them. Get to know who they are, what their ins and outs are, what they like, what they don't like. And then second date is when you start introducing new things. When you start like saying, let's go to a restaurant for something to eat, or let's go to the theatre. You know, I've done that with a girl once or twice, right? I did one, which it didn't work out in the end, but we went to a theatre gig in Liverpool, and it was a really low budget local comedy theatre sort of a thing, and it was actually pretty cool. We sat in these booths and we had to vote for different things that were happening in the show in front of us. It was actually really, really cool, and I enjoyed it. Didn't work out with her in the end. We did another date after that, and then just decided, you know, we're better off as friends, and then we just drifted apart after that. But like, that was the second date, and it was a really good second date. It was only about a third date when we kind of realised we were more different than we were comfortable with in terms of, you know, our interests and what we liked and how we like to spend our time, you know. Fair enough, is what it is. But yeah, I would always say drink first date, and then second date is your, you know, heading out, going for a meal, going to the theatre, doing what you did on your first date, essentially, right? Because then you know the person better, and if you know her sense of humour, and what you're going to is a bit of a letdown, if you know she's a bit of a savage in terms of her personality, in terms of being you know, in terms of a sense of humour, you can start taking the piss out of it together. Little things like without, and you know you're going to be able to do that without upsetting her, right? That sort of a thing. You lay the groundwork first, and then you go into more challenging stuff later, right? All right. This is why. No, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, the event we attended was pretty lame, and I felt really bad for taking her since it was quite the letdown. But I can also say it was kind of a blessing in disguise because it gave us the opportunity to sit on a bench and talk for like 2 to 3 hours. Sitting on a bench and talking for 3 hours is cool, and I'm glad that she did that with you. Be sure not to get friend zoned, though. Right? This is not... Taking somebody for a drink is a date. Sitting on a bench somewhere is friendly. You know? You've got to make sure the ambiance is right. Don't be... I'm very impressed that you managed to get this date out there, but like, that make sure that, you know, she knows she's being looked after, sort of a thing. You know what I mean? You're getting her a drink. You're, you know, doing these things. And a nice girl will go Dutch with you. And by Dutch, I mean go 50-50 split. But anyway. In my opinion, we have a lot of things in common, albeit not 100% spot-on match. More of an 80-90% match, which, when it comes to hobbies and general nerd stuff, dude, that's a great ratio right there. Like, you don't want a 100% match, because then you'll have, you know, you'll run out of things to talk about. You will. You'll be like, oh, that's cool, and then she'll go, yeah, that's cool, and that's it. She's got to have that 20% of her own stuff. She can go, hey, what do you think of this? And you can go, oh, I like that. Why did you get into that? You know, that kind of a thing. I also think we clicked, at least I did, and I ended up walking her to her home. No funny stuff, so everybody keep calm. Oh, for God's sake. Kiwi, you better seal the deal. That's all I'm saying. Please tell me this doesn't go wrong. Please tell me. I've just seen the start of the next paragraph. Please tell me this doesn't go wrong. She told me she enjoyed herself, but it drained her out. She doesn't get out of the house often, nor does she like socialising as far as she told me. No hugs, just thanks, a goodbye, and see you at work. Oh. We kept talking on and off at work and at home, but she kind of dodged any other attempt at a date. Yeah, man, doesn't matter. Just move on. She's generally friendly with me, though, and we talk at work. I don't know what to really think of it, since she is new in the big town, coming from a small town like me, and I can understand it can be very overwhelming to get used to a new place, especially one you don't particularly like, in both of our cases. On the other hand, I think she just doesn't want to hurt me and tell me in my face that she is not interested. I think I see in her the me that I was when I came to the big town. Antisocial, dreading to get out of the house, not having friends, and my life being all the way to the other side of the country, being stuck in what I can only describe as an uncivilized city, and generally having a bad time. I just have this hunch that she is going through the same thing that I did. Of course, I'm unsure on exactly how she feels, because she is quite good at masking emotions and being a better diplomat than me. She also told me that she is used to living this kind of solo life since she lived in bigger cities. However, if my hunch is true, I want to help her out in getting more comfortable with the city and to crack her out of her shell, because I don't want her to feel an espresso depresso as I felt when I first tackled this situation. I'd like to hear your input about it, since it helped me greatly in the previous story. Yeah, okay. So, she's one or two things. She's either not interested in you, which is completely fine, or I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't think you help yourself. If this is somebody who you already thought was a bit of a shut-in and didn't really like going out that much, keeping it simple would have been your best friend. Now, taking her to an event, I don't know what it was, but taking her to an event and then sitting on a bench, which is quite socially awkward, for 2 to 3 hours, is not a good date for somebody who is quite socially awkward and doesn't get out very much. The best date for that person, as I said before, is taking her for a drink. Dutch courage is the best cure, man. It really is. Like, if you've got a girl who's pretty the amount of nervous girls that have taken out on a date and they've had 2 cocktails, and immediately they're talking about their mum, their dad, their siblings, their previous jobs, the previous dates that have gone wrong, this and that. Really interesting stuff that I wanted to know. And at the start of the date, they were just sitting there like, yeah, you know, one-word answers. And then all of a sudden, the floodgates open. You know, you don't try anything, right? Getting drunk's great for a first date. Don't try anything. Don't try and take her home. As in, don't try and take her home to yours to have sex with her. Don't do that. Just you get each other drunk or pleasantly tipsy, and then take her home. That's it. Take her home to her place and leave. Even if she invites you in, say, no, I really want to see you again. Maybe next time, but I really want to see you again. Dude, no that drives a woman crazy. Like, if you can, like, get to the end of the night where she invites you in, and you say no, and say, look, this is our first date, I really want to see you again, and, yeah, second date, definitely, but, like, I don't want to tarnish this, I really want to see you again, and, you know, I think, don't say I think more of you than that, but let her know that as a thing, you know, like, no, I don't want to have sex with you on the first date. This has been really special to me. I've really enjoyed tonight, and I really want to see you again. Right? That's the way to go. That's the perfect end to the date. She'll give you a kiss. She'll try and pull you inside. Just say no. Just say no. No. I'll see you. Oh no, and walk away. Don't look back. Walk away. Don't look back. Like, leave her standing on her porch. That's the best way to do it. You know, kiss and a cuddle. Fair enough. Say I want to see you again. You know, and then walk away. Don't look at her again. Just walk away. Right? Cold. And tell you what, you are in second date territory like that. I've just snapped my fingers, but that is your second date right there. Right? So taking a socially awkward person to the date that you described reads to me as someone who has read too many romance books and seen too many romantic movies. Life isn't like that. You know, life just isn't like that. You can't. You've taken her on a date that you would normally take your girlfriend on, that you've known for a couple of months. That's too much for this person. You know what? It's too much for most people. Most women will look at this and go, "Fucking hell, it's a bit strong." You know, it's a bit weird to go into these places. I mean, you'll find the odd person who enjoys it, but I tell you now, man, that was a ballsy suggestion for a first date. You went for it. You shot. You missed. Fair enough. It seems like it's pushed her further into a shell, from what you've told me, and that she's now, you know, really against going out, probably. So what I would do in your situation is I will talk to her honestly and say, look, lay out exactly how you laid it out for me. Listen, when I came to this city, like, I really struggled and I didn't like going out, and I think you're in that position. I could be wrong, but I think you're in that position, and I'd like to help. Even if it's just as a friend, I'd like to help, you know? So if you want to go out again, please just tell me, and we'll go out and we'll have some fun, you know? We'll and keep it simple, for fuck's sake, keep it simple. Go to a bar and just have a drink, or bare minimum, and this is the most the most you should be looking at as a movie, right? Or something like that. But, like, definitely a bar is the best place. It's nice, it's normal. Just do that. And you can people watch as you're doing it as well. Look, just let her know. Be honest with her about your situation and how you feel about that. And say, hey, you know, even if it's just as friends, I'm here for you. If you want to go out with somebody or you want to, like, have fun, you know, let's do that. Doesn't matter, right? Fully aware that you're an introvert, but, you know, having friends is good. And it's healthy, and it really made me happy. So I'm here to do that for you if you want. And then, obviously, throw it in there. And if it goes anywhere else, like, you know, we went on that date. If it goes anywhere else, fair enough. If it doesn't, then you've got a new friend, you know. Just be honest with them, man. You know, no one's going to be angry with you for being concerned about their welfare. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Do you know what I mean? I just lay it out for her. Lay out how you feel about that. And then see what she says. But yeah, don't do that again. If you're lucky enough to get yourself a date, don't take it to an event. You know, don't take it to a gig either, for fuck's sake. Don't do shit like that. First date, nice and simple. Make her infatuated with you, leave her standing. First date. Infatuation, and then left standing, wanting more. Always leave them wanting more, walk away. Second date, do something a bit more involved. A meal, the theatre, a movie, whatever, right? Something to take both your minds off of being with the other person for like an hour or two. And then you can discuss that thing that you did and learn it to explore more about each other. Maybe have sex on the second date, maybe, if it's the right person. But yeah, and from there on in, you know, it's like I've got you by the seat covers here on your bike, and I'm letting you go. From that moment on, you know, you should know what to do from there, you know. But anyway, let me know how it goes. Those are Hobby Nightmares for today. I love you all long time. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. I will see you on Friday. I'm having a day off tomorrow because I've got other things to do. Essentially, got loads of proofreading to do. So, love you all long time. Have a really good day, and I will speak to you towards the weekend. Have a really good one. Thank you. See you later.